So I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. We're talking preterm babies. It's Prematurity Day today. It's a day that's observed worldwide, but we want to take advantage of that and focus on what's happening in our country. We want to talk about the Ghanaian context. Selina Bentum is a maternal and newborn health advocate, founder and executive director of the African Foundation for Premature Babies and Neonatal Care. And Awal Ahmed is the executive director of Rural Initiatives for Self-Empowerment Ghana. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. So Awal, you do a lot of work up north. Yeah, we've done a few things together with my colleague Albert Sorry. So it's good to have you talk about this subject. Can we start talking about how the picture looks like where you work?
Yes, so thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. Today is a special day, and prematurity is a very common thing all over Ghana. We are talking about the fact that in 2015 alone, 128,000 births were associated to prematurity. And out of that, several of the under 5 deaths, more than 28,000, were responsible as a result of the preterm maturity. So it's a very common practice. But unfortunately, just like in the Upper East region, just like many parts of Ghana, it's considered as a taboo topic. And there's a lot of trauma that mothers of preterm babies go through because the babies are usually so small that sometimes you cannot fathom. But granted, there's a lot of work by the Ghana Health Service and other health practitioners, civil society organizations to change the narrative so that mothers who have preterm babies are able to understand that they are also babies and that there are some proven and simple, cost-effective ways to save these babies. So the narrative is changing in that a lot of quality assurance has been given. Before, people perceive that there's a lot of attitudinal, bad attitudes around the health service delivery. But increasingly, the Ghana Health Service has worked so hard, and so now there's a lot of quality assurance, a lot of good service delivery at the health service delivery. So it is improving the narrative and the way people perceive it. But the most important thing is that mothers of preterm babies need to be enlightened, need to be educated to understand the situation.
Sure, we'll get there in a bit. It's good that you've painted the picture for us, but you also brought your baby with you. So we will talk about the baby that you brought on the show. But Selina, you have a personal experience as well, and there are experiences of many other women that you know of.
Yes.
Let's start with your personal experience.
That was and good morning to your cherished viewers, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be here this morning. In 2015, I had my baby preterm, and this was a journey that I never envisaged. I mean, when you're pregnant, the system, the antenatal system does not prepare you for that journey.
Yeah.
You're not having conversations. All you know is that, oh, now when this first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. The booklets we have that we are reading is talking about first trimester, it's second, third, what you expect. But it never mentions prematurity.
I never had it when I was pregnant.
Almost no mom. I mean, except when situations where your gynae may detect that maybe your condition may threaten it, then the conversation may happen. But in my experience, it was just one dawn. I think I had just entered the first week of the trimester, the third trimester. And whilst at dawn, I just woke up to use the bathroom around 5 a.m. and whoosh, I saw running water, and I mean coming out of me. That means my water had broken. And here am I, a new expectant mother. I've not had a baby before. I was just feeling my body. I was like, there's no labor pain. I thought it was supposed to come with a labor pain, And so I shouted for help, and I was rushed to the hospital. And they called my midwife as well. And when I was rushed to the hospital, they had to observe. They checked in that there was nothing like, the baby wanted to come because I was not due. Mama V, the memory is just too fresh. I remember asking questions and I couldn't have answers to them. I was not sure the fate of my child because I couldn't feel his movements. And a week before that incident, I couldn't feel his movements. I went to the hospital, they checked and it started kicking. I started feeling his movement. So when it was happening, it was scary. I didn't know what to expect. Then they took us to after 1 hour, 24 hours, almost 24 hours, the doctor checked, with a scan monitor. And he looked at me and he said, Selina, the water left is way small. Less than 250 ml. I am not sure whether to induce labor or to do a cesarean. I panicked. I was scared because my mom is a nurse. We hear many stories. And so my mind, everything was just rushing through my brain.
So this was at what weeks? 37?
No, 31, crossing to 32.
Oh.
And so they just took us to the theater. No, I mean, the doctor was contemplating. So the midwife came from nowhere and listened to everything. And the midwife said, please take this woman to the theater. Let's do CS. And so, because I was scared.
At 31 weeks?
Yes. And so they did a CS. To our surprise, my baby had tied his cord around his neck twice. And so
your story is my story.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, your story is my story.
And so the scary part of it is that, Mavi, if the doctor had gone ahead to induce labor, I would not have been alive. Because imagine pushing and the baby being strangled by the umbilical cord. That would have been me dying and my baby dying as well. The doctor said it was a miracle because I think his estimation was that 250 ml of water was left, but it was finished. And the only time I saw my baby was just that split second. I didn't hear him cry. The next thing I was told was that my baby had been taken to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital's neonatal intensive care unit. I had to stay there to nurse my pain. I mean, I had to.
Because you had just done CS.
Yes, because I had just done CS. And whilst I was there, all I had was my faith in God. Because I had nothing to hold on to, no scientific explanation would make sense to me. As a matter of fact, I thought my mother was lying to me anytime she came back from the NICU and was giving me updates. Because I felt my baby was gone because of what I saw. It was scary, and the midwife were coming to me and my ward and said, Selina, try and get some breast milk. Your baby needs to get some breast milk. I'm like, Mama, I can't, there's nothing. I tried to pump, nothing is coming. And she told me, this is psychological. If you don't get into a good frame of mind, you can't get breast milk. And that baby needs the breast milk. And I was made to eat anything that was perceived to produce breast milk. It was due for me to go to the NICU.
Sorry that you have to relive this.
When I entered the NICU, because my mom is a nurse, I mean, she had built a rapport with us professionals, so, it was like a colleagues, the doctor. So I was allowed to go in. So it was just a small walkway before you see it. And when I went there, I was literally shaking because it was scary. What in the world, or where in the world is this place? Babies too fragile, too weak, looking sick, as if, and every doctor and nurse is busy. I don't blame them. It's called an intensive care unit for a purpose. And I was pointed that was my son. I just went close, looked at him, and I ran out of the NICU. I burst into uncontrollable tears. I wept my heart out. I sat on the staircase, held my head, was crying. Mama, nobody could understand. Why? Mama V, if I can tell you why I was crying, I'll be lying to you. It's just, the pain is too much. You are scared, you are anxious, you are worried. it is just it's just everything negative put together. And but then he had spent almost 5 days in the NICU, and so we had honestly nothing. I don't remember exactly what the doctor was saying, but nothing they said scientifically there, explanation on his phone, nothing made sense to me. He said he came 1.4 kilos.
1.4
1.4 kilos.
That's very small.
Oh,
Yes.
there are 900 grams.
500.
500 grams. And so I was, I mean, all I had was my faith to carry me through. But I did my best. All I had to do was to all I would do was just be humming and singing, because I didn't have breast milk.
So for how long was the baby there, kept there?
This is another miracle. My baby was moved out of the incubator. Well, my faith, so I say it's a miracle. But medically, perhaps, maybe he could have stayed there a bit longer, because you need to stay there till you are full term before you are discharged. So he spent almost, I think it was a week.
Okay.
That's
pretty short.
Yeah, very. In fact, it was a surprise to the health professionals, because somehow he was just one unique child that was survived among the bunch. I mean, they tested his sucking ability. He passed, So they were like, "Oh, you should go." And I also, for the fact that my mom, has been doing this for other people for a long time. So it was quite easier for them to trust that I was in safe hands.
Yeah.
And so we were discharged from the NICU.
Okay, so we've got a picture.
Yes,
that's your baby. We would look at it. Oh, Charlie, this is no baby. That's a grown young man.
That's a grown young man.
Okay, but that's when he was...
This was when he was 1 week after we returned. And you see, what you're looking at right now, because of the images, it looks big.
Yeah.
But in reality, when you go to any shop and ask for the 0 to 4 kilo size, you see, he was not even fitting into it. So it's like, 1/4. Yeah.
So how much was he weighing when you first carried him home?
It was 1.4. He didn't gain.
Wow. And that's him now?
That's him now.
How old is he?
He's 2.5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I think he wants to be a doctor. And this was where he fits. When I was doing the kangaroo care for him, this was where his head was. And this was where the legs were. Wow. He fit in between my breast.
Wow.
And I had to kangaroo him, and I mean, if I put him, it's just like my palm, the size of my palm. And if I can talk about this is another colleague's son. He came triplets, 1 kilo, 900 grams. He was 900 grams, lost 2 of his brothers under preventable circumstances. And he struggled to achieve major milestones. He was able to sit and crawl when he was 1.5 years old. I mean, he's now taking baby steps, but then he's made progress compared to his, other babies as well. Junior Olasi is also making progress as well.
So how old is he now?
He's also 2.5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah. That's the doctor.
That's the doctor.
That's the guy who made it.
I know. And so it is a miracle.
That's
I mean,
like an incredible story you have right there.
I tell you that the journey, now I'm laughing because after the research, into prematurity in Ghana and beyond, with the help of other professionals, I realized that no, it was not just about me. Mama, in the NICU, you can't predict who you sit with, what mother you sit with, because we have 4 times to feed the babies. And any time I had the opportunity to sit by another woman, and I would just look at, what happened to you? The moment she began to tell her story, she started crying. And for every woman that I met, we are told to be strong, even when we have no strength. When we are battling with our physical pain and emotional pain, we are told that if you become too emotional, that child may go. Every time we came to the NICU, you are not sure if you come to find your baby, because when you come, let's say you come in the morning, in the afternoon, come for the next session, and one mother is shouting and screaming because the baby is gone. And your baby may be sharing the NICU with that baby, the incubator with that baby, and you don't know who is next to go. Every day, every night for the battle. I can tell you, I was praying every night. I said that let it be that is your will for this boy to go, but if it's not, Father, save him. And all I had through that journey was nothing the medical expert told me, because there wasn't much to depend on.
Yeah.
There was not that emotional support. I do not blame them, but I saw the commitment that they brought on board every day to help the baby survive.
Yeah.
However, I am not supposed to be the priority, I guess, which is a wrong that we hope that will reverse.
Yeah. We'll come back and talk about some of the things that you learned, the reason you're on this journey today. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. But you can relate, because I saw you nodding, and what she shared, you've seen that story unfold many times yourself, haven't you?
I have. And I must say, she's a very bold woman.
Thank you.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Look, we have seen mothers abandon the NICU and the health facility because they can't just understand the size of their babies and the weight of their babies. Unfortunately, also, we cannot medically explain why it happens. For now, it's difficult to explain why it happens.
We've got a doctor explaining a few things to us, so we'll play that in the course of the
and then also, but there are ways of preventing and detecting early.
But you said some mothers leave their children.
Yes, because
for who to care for them, they leave them and they come back later, or what?
No, it's shocking.
It is shocking.
It's shocking. The exposure is so shocking, and like she said, the focus usually is on saving the babies. But there's another angle. The mother is more attached to the baby. Look, no matter how painful the labor period is, the moment the baby comes out, you realize that the mother has some fresh energy. So when you have that fresh energy, and then you want to see the baby, and you only see the baby for a few seconds, and they tell you that there is a room called Newborn Intensive Care Unit, NICU, that they are taking the baby there. It makes you feel like, why is my baby different? And so that kind of emotional...
And especially when you've attended outdoorings and you've seen other babies.
Exactly.
You know how they look like.
They are not bouncing babies. And if I can add a little to what Awal is saying, the reality of the situation in the NICU, I mean, partly because I've went through it, is that, like you said, because people do not know, the shock, you know, and teenage mothers. Yesterday, I was with one of the professors in charge of the NICU, and she was saying, whilst we were with the professor, she was saying that a teenage mother was discharged, I think a week ago, who was 13 years old and had a premature baby. And so you can imagine. And when I was there was a lady who was caught downstairs because she had tried to take the baby, you know, sneak the baby out of the NICU. And I remember very well the nurse saying, you know, and this is reality that she's scared, she's confused, and it cost her a lot to come from wherever she is, to come and nurse the baby. There was another mother who sat next to me. I remember she had abandoned her baby for weeks, months. There was a baby, I remember she was in the first incubator. Anytime you go, she looks hungry, weak, and like yearning for so much love. And one of the sessions when I came, I heard a doctor say, so I understand this baby's mom is here. Why? He said, the doctor said, come, I will pay, Dr. Wood. She said, come, I will pay for the cost of you being in the KMC. Come and take care of the baby for me. And she said, so she sat next to me that session, and I asked, why? And she said, she has to come from Budumburam every day, and she doesn't have the money to do that. So she has no choice but to leave the baby. And look at me, I didn't have breast milk. This woman would just get the breast and, you know, the milk would just flowing. And I'm like, your baby needed. So I just shared my strength with her. I said, do your part as a mom in the survival process, and let it be the will of the one who gave him life that he will pass. Maybe he will be the person to take care of you or support you. And tears started running down her eyes. He said, I will try.
So at this point in the NICU, how many children were there with yours? Could you count?
What I saw at the time was that in one incubator, you can have about 3 kids maximum. Ideally, from what we're told, it should be 1 baby to an incubator because of infections, because the babies are susceptible to sepsis, they call it. And so, if I remember very well, too many incubators in a space like this studio. You know, several incubators with beds, baby beds, they call it. So when you show some sign of survival. You just move to give space to another person. So that's what happened to my baby. And he was also battling with jaundice, as well, which is quite common with newborns, and especially with preterm babies. So ideally, we're supposed to go from the first room to the second room, then the third stage you were out. So you call the NICU graduate when you leave. But I mean, because of space, we're told that sometimes if you stay here and you're doing well, you're made to leave. So for each room, it was full to capacity. There wasn't space for all of that.
Amazing. But you can't tell how many of those children that you graduated with or that you left made it or didn't make.
Mama, what I can tell you was the losses that I, like you would hear that, this person's, I remember this lady who had twins and one was gone. And imagine when one is gone, and they'll break the news to you when you come. They'll call you and tell you this, you see wailing. And you are supposed to feed the second one that is there. So going through and you're not sure if the other one will survive. And notice we have a myth as Africans with twins. The fact that when one goes, the chance that the other one will survive and all of that. So you know who is going next. Sometimes I remember when I was leaving with my baby, we were about 5. Not from the same room though, maybe from another room and from the other side as well. But it wasn't like we're all made to go. My baby came to meet some others, but they were still there when we're leaving because they hadn't shown. And and the NICU is not just for premature babies, it's for sick babies as well. So you can see babies struggling and battling with major sicknesses and all of that. So yeah, that's what I remember.
Amazing. But there's something that you're trying to do for those who've survived. I think at this point we probably should go and listen to Dr. Hilary Andor, who's with the neonatal intensive care unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. She talks about the condition and the challenges at the NICU. You've heard a lot already. We'll come back and talk about what Awal is doing. Remember the women who leave their children. I think there's some kind of intervention. And then Selena will also come and talk about the projects that you're championing now after going through all that experience.
If we say a baby is born preterm, it means that the baby is born before 37 weeks of gestation. There are several causes of preterm births. Notable amongst them are hypertension in pregnancy, diabetes in pregnancy, infections in the mother, so urinary tract infections and other infections in the mother, malaria whilst the mother is pregnant, and also anemia and poor maternal nutrition.
Okay, I've seen a number of babies here, so averagely how many cases are recorded?
So generally about 50 to 60% of the admissions in NICU are preterm births.
Are you able to determine which child will survive and which child is going to die?
I would say that the survival rate depends on a number of factors. Okay, if the baby is born too small or too soon, so
where too small is?
Meaning, if you look at preterms in general, there are babies who are born less than 37 weeks of gestation. But then among that group, there are babies who are even less than 28 weeks of gestation. There are some who are between 28 to 32 weeks, 32 to 35 weeks, and 35 to 37 weeks. So the younger you are and the smaller your birth weight, the higher your chances of risk factors and the less your survival rate.
Have you ever recorded a case, or have you seen a case that the mother abandons the baby because she's terrified by what she sees?
A few, but then generally I wouldn't say they abandon their babies because they are preterm, but some mothers can actually develop what we call postpartum depression just by the fact that they've had preterm deliveries. So the mothers could have some psychological imbalance after delivery, and they tend to get better with time, but they need a lot of support from family and from medical staff to get better. Deaths from preterm deliveries can be reduced. So I'm saying that because managing a preterm actually starts before birth. So during the antenatal care of the mother, maternal nutrition has to be enhanced. So mothers have to be encouraged to eat good diets. Mothers' blood levels have to be checked to prevent anemia in pregnancy or manage anemia in pregnancy. Hypertension and diabetes in pregnancy need to be managed. And if you have a situation where the preterm birth is unavoidable, mothers should be given steroids to help mature the lungs of the babies before they are born. Then when the babies are delivered, the healthcare staff and the mothers have a lot of work to do. So notable amongst them are hand washing, good hand washing with soap and water, management of infections in the preterm baby, so antibiotic use. We have some other medications that help the preterms to grow, and then managing their breathing problems. So one of the main causes of deaths in them is problems breathing. So then we need equipment to support their breathing as well. And then their blood glucose levels or blood sugar levels have to be checked as well.
What are some of the challenges in caring for the preterm babies?
Well, preterm babies are delicate, very, very delicate. So they need a lot of compassion. They need a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work, because adults can always tell you when they have problems. But with preterm babies, you, the doctor, actually needs to look out for the problems in them. And that's what we are trained to do. Some of the challenges really are managing breathing problems. So as I said, we have equipment to help them breathe, but we could still do with more equipment for that, because if you don't have enough logistics, what you have to do is actually use energy pushing in air when a baby stops breathing. Okay. Other challenges we face are that in higher centers, you may have more equipment that closely monitor the babies. So there are things we call apnea monitors. The preterm babies who are less than 34 weeks can actually stop breathing at certain points of the day. And when they stop breathing, they need stimulation. So the apnea monitors signal when the baby stops breathing. So it brings your attention to the baby as well. And then management of infection. So if you realize when you were coming in, you saw mothers washing their hands. Nurses wash their hands, doctors wash their hands. But because preterms are at a high risk of infection, they tend to develop that sometimes, and then we need to deal with that as well.
That's Dr. Hilary Ando speaking there to my colleague Patricia Gasso in the studio. Selena is here and Awal is here as well. We're sharing experiences. Dr. Ando giving us a lot more understanding of the condition. And then we're coming to talk about the various interventions that you're carrying out in your various places. I'll start with you, Awal.
Yes, so thank you once again. Like I indicated earlier, according to UNICEF, in 2015, 128,000 preterm babies were recorded. And
is this in Ghana? This is worldwide?
In Ghana alone. Worldwide is about 15 million. And then when you look at the number of deaths that Ghana recorded in 2015 for under 5 deaths, 5,800 of them were as a result of preterm-related complications. So it's quite serious. So because of that, for me, I see myself as a mere messenger. The people who are doing the actual work are the doctors and the midwives at the Ghana Health Service. And then UNICEF. They are doing a lot of great work supporting the various health facilities, community health centers and others. And then basically the intervention is called a Mother-Baby Friendly Health Facility Initiative. Before, there was an initiative called Baby Friendly Health Facility. So the focus was on the babies. But now it's expanded and it's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates and championed by Ghana Health Service and UNICEF.
Okay.
And then when you go to the Upper East region, I salute there's one particular doctor. There are many of them, but there's one particular doctor called Dr. Gillian Boogie. She's doing a lot of work. She's very passionate. She's in charge
What's
of
the name of the facility, the hospital?
The Bolgatanga Regional Hospital.
Okay.
She's in charge of the NICU. Dr. Gillian Boogie is very passionate about preterm babies, about babies with special needs, and they are doing a lot of work. As you may know, in terms of Ghana, in terms of issues of neonatal care and maternal and child health issues, the Upper East is leading. It's showing a lot of innovations. So that is why the project is being piloted there. And so the Regional Health Administration, UNICEF, and they are doing a lot of work in terms of supporting the health facilities. Basically, one of the reasons why preterm deaths occur is infections. My sister earlier mentioned sepsis. But sometimes to the way when babies are born in a clean environment with appropriate hand washing and other things, it reduces the ability to cause infection and other things. So the project is supporting they have what they call quick fixes. When they go to a particular health facility or a delivery room, they just look at what can quickly be done to make the place safe for babies and mothers.
Okay.
And so it promotes those quick fixes. And then also one of the things that is promoting is the kangaroo mother care.
Yeah.
The kangaroo mother care basically promotes appropriate production of breast milk. It strengthens the bond between the mother and the baby.
Yeah, we saw a few.
Exactly, and usually the mothers
breastfeeding.
carry the babies in front and they tie it in a manner that is not hurting the baby. But the most important thing also is that most preterm babies, you see this doll, there are preterm babies who are smaller than this doll. Very small.
Me, I can't imagine it all.
And the weight, the weight is so small. So, because they are born premature, so most parts of their bodies, the lungs are immature, the intestines are immature, the brains are immature, and they often suffer from what we call apnea attacks, and they stop breathing. One of the doctors at UNICEF who is supporting the program will always say they forget to breathe. Dr. Priscilla will say they forget to breathe. So when they are behind you as the mother and they forget to breathe, you will not know that they are forgetting to breathe. It's called apnea attack medically. So there is a need to carry them in front. And when you carry them in front, sometimes they are born, like I said, they are not premature, they are not matured, so the lungs don't function well. The temperature can also be low. But when you put the baby in front, skin to skin,
the kangaroo style,
it increases the body temperature to the optimum body temperature. So, and then apart from that, once the baby is in front, the baby is able to manage on his or her own to suckle, and it improves the production of gestation-specific breast milk. And then also, when you carry your baby skin to skin, it's the length of time you stay at the NICU or the baby stays at the NICU can significantly improve.
You're a man. Is there an opportunity for fathers to also do that?
Yes, it's encouraged because, like I indicated, there is a shock for carrying a baby and then preterm, less than 37 weeks, the baby is born. So the shock is there. If we don't emotionally support the woman and encourage.
Have you seen, as you go around, have you seen a man?
Yes, I think
carry.
The Ghana Health Service is doing a lot of that. In the Upper East region, there are currently a lot of men.
So you've seen men do that?
Yes, but the numbers are not encouraging.
Okay.
The numbers are not encouraging.
That's fine. We have to start from somewhere.
Yes, so we start from somewhere. Thankfully, the Regional Health Directorate is promoting that in the Upper East region. A lot of people are getting interested because we need to support so that we can improve the life of preterm babies. It's really very serious. And then also we must admit that there are some preterm babies who are actually leading a lot of things in the world. So even though some preterm babies may have medical conditions later in life, a lot of them are also very talented. And I must say that for all we know, my sister wouldn't have been here but for her baby.
Yeah.
So the baby is actually, she's a heroine. The baby is actually also a hero.
Yeah.
For his sake, she's trying to reach out to more babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, so we should convince mothers and communities to see preterm babies as a blessing and a challenge to us. You never know which child can hold the cure for cancer tomorrow, or the child who can
bring the best development to his or her community or her country. So it's a national, it's about asset building, ensuring that they contribute their best, and they can only do that when we create an enabling environment for them to be safer and take note of the risk factors.
Sure.
There are some risk factors associated with preterm babies, and we must address that if we want to live.
All right, so Selena, tell us about what you've decided to take on.
Yes, so the organization's name is African Foundation for Premature Babies in Neonatal Care. I said earlier, this problem is not just about me or my son. It goes way beyond. It is project to reach out to that mother in that far village where some people may never see. It's a project to reach out to stakeholders, for us to come together. It's a project to reach out to the continent as well, for us to see this as urgent, as an urgent call on all of them to take action. We call it the Beyond the Incubator Project. African Foundation for Premature Babies and Neonatal Care. Our focus is on one, advocacy and communication, fundraising to sustain neonatal health projects, improving standard of care, and building, establishing powerful network of stakeholders.
Okay.
And so this project is supposed to look at issues of prematurity that go beyond donating the equipment that it requires. So the project is supposed to look at the standard of care holistically.
Okay. Is it easier for somebody who has experienced it to talk to other mothers about it? Which is better?
It is
doctors or people who have gone through it?
You know, let me give this an example in another situation. For example, somebody who survived breast cancer. If somebody who survived it is telling you something, it is from that perspective. There's also a science aspect of the sickness. However, when a mother or family, whether they've lost, or are nurturing a preterm, is advocating for initiatives like this, it makes much more impact if he or she does that in collaboration with stakeholders.
Okay.
Because you cannot do this alone. It's just like being in your room, you have a letter and you say, I'm making a shoe, for somebody that you don't know the size of the shoe. And you don't behave as if you are bringing an invention that has never been done. You need to know there's a system and appreciate the system that is saving some lives and work with the people who are on the ground to achieve results.
I guess in line of that, that's why you met the First Lady yesterday.
Yes. So yesterday we had the rare privilege of being hosted by Her Excellency, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. It was such a humbling experience. And also, which used the...
Is that my boy there?
Oh, that's him. Very distracted and couldn't be bothered, Yeah. And the purpose of our visit was to have discussions with her. I show our appreciation, first of all, to her for her demonstrated commitment in improving maternal and neonatal health. After the JoyNews expose on what was happening in Confanoche, the swift action, how that made impact on the stakeholders, and how that has given an everyday woman like me a voice and opened doors. And also to have discussion on prematurity, and also let her see survivors. The preterm champions, that is Ken Luther, my son, and Esther's son, were the ones who were available at the time to meet the First Lady. And some of those you see are the members, and the one in the orange, that's my mom.
Oh.
She has been supporting to save lives in the Western region as well.
Okay.
And, that is the team, the AFPNC team were also joined by professors from the Kolebu in child health.
Amazing.
And so we had discussions in that area, and she's looking forward to looking into that area since that is causing death, and so that the initiatives that AFPNC is bringing on board together with other stakeholders, we can now look at the initiatives and see how we move from there. One of the interesting things we talked about was human breast milk banking initiative. The whole idea is that, breast milk substitutes can never be compared to natural breast milk. Preterm babies need breast milk to survive. mothers who have preterms go through the challenge of what we call lactation deficiency, which I suffered. So the whole idea that all the initiatives were born out of research and the experience, the stages, the gaps that AFPNC, has seen through its research with the professionals as well. And so the initiatives are supposed to bridge the gaps. And one of the biggest is breast milk. And any newborn, whether they lost their mother or not, could rely on that breast milk bank initiative. We are hoping that we will launch and implement that initiative across Ghana, and it will be the first of its kind in Ghana if it's launched and implemented. In South Africa, and it will be the first in West Africa. I mean, if we're able to launch and do this successfly.
So just like we have the blood bank.
That is exactly how it's supposed to be.
Blood
this has its own scientific aspect, technology, in the implementation process. And I'd rather we look at the possibility of that being a reality than just criticizing the system. So I'm looking at, through this project, we call action from every person. We criticize the system. It is important that we do, but can we move away from only criticizing to taking action? Let's direct the criticism where it is supposed to be. Let's give solutions where we can, and let's be open to adapt to changes that that is introduced. So, maybe we cannot leave the job to the health professionals because their hands are full.
So this is the next thing that you want to do?
The next thing we want to do is improving the standard of care with focus on the preconception and the delivery stage.
Okay. So I just want to ask what you think about this breast milk bank.
Yes, okay. I think that is a very innovative idea. And for me, we are doing this at a little scale. We are promoting breast milk expression for mothers. Sometimes basically we must emphasize that when babies are born, the protocol is that they must be put to breast within 1 hour. But in Ghana, that's the global protocol. But in Ghana, it's within 30 minutes. They must be put to breast. And then also, there must be breastfed exclusively with breast milk only for 6 months. But the challenge is that it takes the community, the family, to raise a child, not the mother alone. So the mother, the busy moms, they go to work, career women, or they go to farms or other places, and they leave the babies behind with the grannies. And now the baby is crying. The grandmother wants the baby to stop crying. The mother hasn't expressed breast milk. And so it's difficult for the mother not to give water, the grandmother not to give water. So the cycle of exclusive breastfeeding is broken, and all this have the stunting and other health effects on the baby. So we are promoting breast milk expression, but there is a way of doing it, and in mothers who usually have difficulty in producing breast milk and others, sometimes it's not necessarily the food you eat, but it's psychological.
Let me just announce the phone line, because I feel like taking a few calls now. If you've been watching, you want to comments, or you want to share your own personal experience, we've got real life experience here. If you want some real feel, I'm sure Selena will be ready to give you. So give me a call. 0302-211-6910, 0302-211-6910. We may not be able to pick a lot of calls, so just call like now.
So in this breastfeeding also, we are encouraging mothers to do it in containers that are airtight, that are easy to open and clean, so that when they are going out and they are busy, they can leave at least some express breast milk so that the babies can be fed. And then also, there is one particular woman that we are using as an advocate in this project that I mentioned, the Mother Baby Friendly Health Facility Initiative. She is a mother of a preterm baby. And from her experience, she said when the baby was born, it was so small, and she felt like running away. But with the advent of the encouragement from the health service and then the project, she was able to stay back.
She's in Upper West?
She's in Upper East.
Upper East.
Now this woman, she's helping to promote these issues of preterm babies. She's helping to promote exclusive breastfeeding and optimal breastfeeding practices by going on radio, talking to her colleagues. And then one of the things we are doing is usually you find civil society organizations and health workers going to communities to educate mothers about breastfeeding, optimal breastfeeding practices, and
prenatal and antenatal care. But now we are trying to shift the focus. So we are empowering more mothers so that they are engaging their peers and sharing their experiences so that it can help change the narrative. Because when you hear from your fellow mother or your fellow woman, then you are more receptive to the information.
Sure. Let me go to the phone lines now. Somed is my first caller. Good morning to you.
Good morning, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear you. Hello, Somed. You have to reposition yourself. I think the line is breaking, and you have to turn down the volume on your television set as well, because I'm getting feedback. Hello.
Yeah, I'm saying congratulations to my brother, Mr. Awal, for the wonderful job.
Thank you.
Hello.
Somed, we can hear you, and he said thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm saying congratulations to my brother, Mr. Awal, for the wonderful performance there.
Okay. All right.
It has been so inspiring and very educative program.
All
but
right.
my appeal to them is our municipal hospital, that's municipal hospital. Sometimes you go to the...
What's the name of the hospital again? Is it Boko Municipal Hospital, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Boko Municipal Presbyterian Hospital.
Okay.
Sometimes you go there and you see that the premature babies, most of them, there are no incubators to incubate them, to accommodate them. So the mothers are really suffering with also the staff there. So my appeal to them is to try and also help them with the logistics so that they will be able to, minimize the rate of infection there.
Okay. All right. Somed Benga from Boko joining us. If you also want to speak to the subjects, give us a call real quick, 0302-211-69102. Okay, so there's a curious question of, is it all, like you come out of the NICU and you go back home and you raise your child and that's it? Or are there things to expect?
There is a follow-up care. When you go to the Kolebu, for example, you're told when to come back, and so there's a continuum care. And it's like weighing for the kids for, other babies, but we have a special center in Kolebu where you would come back and check them. But the challenge is that if you're leaving the region, supposing you were moved to Accra, to Kolebu, you're going back to your facility, you have to report to that facility. I'm not sure what the situation is in other regional hospitals, but that would bring me to the three main focus, of the projects we're bringing out. The focus on intensifying awareness campaign, and so that people would know about prematurity when they're pregnant. We think that one of the things discussed with the First Lady is that Ghana, all stakeholders in neonatal health and maternal health need to come together to produce one document that is like strategic approach to reducing prematurity in Ghana. When we have that document, Mama V, next year...
We don't have anything like that?
No, we don't have anything like that yet. At least I have not come across anything like that. What we have is strategic approach on advocacy and communication for newborn health. Newborn health is huge. The challenges are plenty. If the statistics are showing that prematurity is on the rise and high, then you need to focus on that area. Do something, let's produce a document together. Let's have that discussion and have a map that's saying that is what we want to do to improve the care. So we all know that every year when we are here, we are looking at what we said we were going to do and what we have achieved so far. And this is disseminated to all centers and all stakeholders. So everybody in the neonatal health field, particularly prematured area, prematurity, knows that this is what we are achieving collectively. And
let me speak to Egberts. We'll continue from there. Egberts is also calling from Boko. Egberts, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and your panelists.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Let's hear you.
I want to greet Mr. Awan. I've met him several on.
Mr. Awan is very famous in Boko.
Not only in Boko, in Napa East. Actually, I also work with Ghana Health Service, and I know the contributions he has made when it comes to neonatal care.
Sure.
So I just want to congratulate him and wish him all the best. And also, thankfully, UNICEF is doing a lot of interventions when it comes to neonatal care. So I also want to appreciate the efforts that they are making when it comes to neonatal care.
Okay, Egberts.
And yes, please. And a lot of advocacy has to go on. And especially when it comes to the involvement of men. At this stage, a lot of women are traumatized, and it's only their husbands that can also contribute to whatever the health personnel do.
Sure.
And so that's just the contribution.
All right. Fantastic contribution, Egbert.
And I am grateful. Enjoy your show every morning before I go to work. So
thank you. Thank you so much. Let's talk to MFA. MFA is in Ho. MFA, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, MFA. Let's hear you.
Yeah. I'm calling to share my experience with school.
Okay. Nice.
I didn't give birth mature, but when my water broke, it wasn't clear. So I think they said the baby drank some liquid or something, so he had to be put there. So there was one time, one of the days, I think around midnight, something said I should go and then breastfeed him. You know, you have to go at intervals to go and breastfeed and then hold and caress them a bit. So around 12 midnight, I think the second day, I gave birth on December 5th. Mm-hmm. On 7th December, when I think the day after the election, 8th December, okay. I went around 12 midnight to breastfead my baby. When I got there, the door to the NICU was locked. So I rang the bell several times. Nobody responded. I just felt something was wrong. So then I kept insisting, and then the person, the nurse opened the door. She was fast asleep. You could tell that she was asleep. You know, somebody who is supposed to take care of premature babies and babies who need special care. She was fast asleep. When she opened the door, she was like, "What do I want here?" So I said I was coming to feed the baby, as like we've been told to do. Mm. So she opened the door. I went into the place, and then I started breastfeeding my baby. When I actually got there, my baby was like, he was crying. Yes, she told me at the entrance that my baby was fast asleep. Mm. He had been crying, like you can see he was hot. So I started feeding him and everything. Then after some time, I realized that the nurse had gone to sleep. So I didn't feel right. So I kept breastfeeding my baby and holding him. Then one of the premature babies was crying. She didn't wake up. Then every other baby was crying, and also I went like, where is this nurse? No, she was so fast asleep. Can you imagine the entire night from that 12 midnight all the way to 8 a.m.? This lady was fast asleep. Nobody had. She didn't feed. She didn't take care of the babies the entire time. You can imagine how I just broke down. Now I was scared to leave and go and call the other mothers come and feed, because I felt if I leave, she'll come and lock the door, and then my baby too will also not be fed the entire night. I was just traumatized. And the only excuse she gave me was she had gone to vote in Kumasi the previous day, so I didn't expect her to be able to be up to take care of the babies. So those premature babies had not been fed the entire night.
Amazing. But Rita, Rita, how is your baby now?
Oh, he's fine. He'll be a year on 5th December now, so
wow.
He's perfect.
And which facility are we specifically?
It's unfortunate how premature babies are supposed to be given special care, and then some nurses neglect that. The entire night from
which hospital is this? Which hospital, MFA?
The Boston Regional Hospital.
Amazing.
When I reported to the head, they said, "Oh, I should just let it go," and that she was tired from the distance. If you know you are tired, then don't say you can take care of other people's babies.
I get you. Yeah, I get you.
Said from 12 midnight to almost 8 a.m.
MFA, thank you so much for sharing your personal story with us, and I think that you've also tuned our minds to another area of the conversation, because intensive care is intensive care, and if you're supposed to take care of them 24 hours, we don't care wherever you travel to, you have to do your work. Rita is in Kumasi. Rita, good morning. Thank you for holding. You've been holding for a while. I really appreciate it. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Mama, mine is, I've not had an experience, but I think I've seen people go through it. And I always appreciate mothers who go through that. Because I also gave birth at the ward. Mine wasn't a preterm, but I saw other women who went through it, and the trauma that they go through, I always appreciate them, and I always pray that there will be an intervention to help them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the pain that these mothers go through at the hospital, the frustration, the nurses themselves, the mother is traumatized already, and the attitude the nurses sometimes give to this mother. Sometimes you just go there and then the way they are being treated, hey, sit here, move here, do this, and they are always shouted on. So I think the nurses should just have heart to help these mothers go through, because it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
I could see mothers, when I was at the hospital, I could see people, the trauma that they go through, even though mine wasn't a preterm, I could feel their pain, because going through these birth pains, and just after some minutes or some few hours, you are being told your son or your daughter is going through this. And instead of them to help you psychologically, they rather put more pain in. That's why people run away, because the pressure and then the trauma that they go through sometimes is unbearing. So then health nurses should also look up to that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita, for joining the conversation. Christopher is joining us from Morgan. I think I lost Christopher there. I'm really sorry, but I think we have to end the phone calls here. And I know that lots of people have various experiences. I mean, my second child was not preterm, but he had the cord wrapped around his neck twice. And when he came out and he had an infection, I mean, I cried.
Wow.
So that's why I said, your story is my story. Because when you see that the child is so fragile, like, and then you're thinking, and they are connecting things to him, and they are like, how can he take it?
Especially when they need to get some blood to take to the lab. How they call it line setting, and you can't stand to watch. But you know, we are partners with the Ghana Health Service since 2016, and we are looking at launching that initiative to we call it Preterm Family Network. So you can to open up to mothers, professionals, any person who believes that premature babies born in Ghana and Africa can survive and must survive, can just join the network. We want to build that cycle so that we can be one voice and call for improved standard of care. There are community health professionals. There are people who want to do this. So let's come together and so that we can put our voice together and demand for better care for the baby.
So this is what we're finally just going to do. I see that there are a lot of people who the support groups, the networks will be very helpful to them. So first of all, how can people get in touch with your team so that you know the conversation can continue from there?
Okay, so www.afpncvoice.org. That is the website, and you can send me an email personally, selina@afpncvoice.org. You can also reach us 0260-717750. You can also talk to me 020-8612-000. What we are doing is this. In the Western region, which we have started, we are creating a network of stakeholders, I mean, with the mothers, with the parents, so that we can together call for stuff like counseling units for mothers before they enter the unit. So, for example, you have a corner where you are made to see what you should expect, the process, the journey, and when you leave, a support group that you will have in your area. Through that support group, we create awareness, we raise funds. And so we are open to any person, whatever means you have that you can support us with.
You can come on board.
You can come on board. Maybe your area, you can bring up an initiative for fundraising awareness. We are open to that conversation.
All right. Wow, you're already very famous in Upper West, Upper East. Why do I keep Upper West, Upper East? Yes. So how can people, you know, get in touch and get some support?
For me, I want to emphasize that, especially those callers that came, they really touched my heart, that they recognize the work we are doing. But more importantly, the woman who called from Kumasi, talking about the attitude of health workers, I want to encourage them that a lot has changed. A lot has changed in terms of the attitude of the health workers. That perception alone,
we don't want a lot to change.
There's a lot of improvement.
You know, you are in the field for a purpose. So do your work. Leave the rest of your story wherever.
Yes.
We want things to be how they should be. So we don't want a lot to change. We want everything to change.
To be perfect, yes. So that's why I want to emphasize that the Ghana Health Service has done a lot of work. It has improved on the attitude of its staff. So gone are the days when you have certain bad attitudes from nurses.
We still hear stories.
It's a human institution. It's a human institution, so definitely there will be some people who are not pulling their weight. But the danger is that when we are talking about the attitude, some people will not even go to seek the services. So we need to give also assurance that the quality of services are improving over the years. And we are working with mother-to-mother support groups. These are mothers who support each other, their respective communities. And I think that the various health directorates at the various regions can also be of support. We as Rise Ghana, we have a website called www.riseghana.org.
Rise as in R-I-S-E.
Yes, Rise in RISE.org. That's our website. We are also on Twitter at Rise Ghana. And Facebook also, we are very active.
Okay.
And then going forward, we want to encourage men to support their wives, communities to support new mothers, and then to practice exclusive feeding and all the best practices, optimal practices. We also want to express our gratitude to UNICEF Ghana, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Regional Health Directorate. They have been very supportive. We are not health professionals, but our advantage is that we are effective at mobilizing communities. So we have a strong partnership with the Upper East Regional Health Directorate, which is doing so well. And thanks to Dr. Prisla, Dr. Imran Rajvi, and others.
I see that you appreciate the team that you work with.
Yes, but we have a policy as a country, the National Newborn Care Strategy. It wants to reduce the number of deaths per 1,000 live births from 32 to 21 in 2018. And if we don't pay attention to preterm birth issues, we cannot achieve that. The SDG targets also seeks to improve the number of babies that die at birth or after birth. And without paying attention to issues of preterm, we will not be able to achieve that. So we want all stakeholders to join forces. And thank you, Multimedia, for this opportunity.
All right, sure. Thank you very much for making it, Selena and Awa. We're grateful for your time. And we hope that the conversation will continue. I want to say good morning to everybody that is watching us from the Eastern Corridor Hotel in Gushogo. You're hosting some of my colleagues, Justice Beidou and the others in the hotel, and we are aware that you're watching us. So everybody that works with Eastern Corridor Hotel in Gushogo, good morning to you, and enjoy breakfast. It's a nice place there. All right, stay with us. You're watching the AM show. We've got more coming your way this Friday.